So what I want to say was this then.
What?
If you're in a socialist country with multiple parties, and one of the parties is a capitalist party, which would surely exist, what would you do if that party started gaining momentum? And it was clearly like people...
Oh my God, Ethan is asking such a question. You murder them all! Say it! You kill them all! You kill everybody. That's what the leftists do. That's what Mao did. That's what they did after the Bolshevik Revolution to other lefties. That's what you do in a leftist country. When you take over, you kill all the other people. That's what happens.
Wanted that.
That's what the Nazis did when they took power. When they were working with the lefties, they killed the lefties there. Now the Nazis weren't lefty, but like, yeah, when you are an illiberal party, when you don't believe in liberalism and you gain power, the first thing you do is you kill everybody else that opposes you or has any actual parliamentary threat to you, parliamentary, democratic, whatever kind of threat, whatever governmental threat.
Route. They wanted that route. Yeah. So what do you do?
I think I would do what America has done. Not that.
Oh my God, he's such a pussy. How can you be this tall and eat that much chicken and be such a pussy-ass little fucking bitch? He's actually such a pussy. Can we get like some 4'8" midget here that Hasan can press so he can get some of his fucking confidence back? God, he's such a weak-willed individual. Oh my God. Say it with your fucking chest. Holy shit.
To the same degree. Not to the same degree as like, you know, McCarthy's trials or anything like that.
Oh, so you would trial them? You'd convict them of crimes? You bring up McCarthyism, the guy that hunted down everybody for communism? Does Ethan know the reference of what you're saying right now?
But I would offer additional amenities to ensure that people are comfortable and happy, because I feel like
but what do you do if they're like, nah, that we're doing capitalism?
Yes.
Well, if everything is given to you, at that point, if every single thing is given to you, if all of your problems are solved, which I think we can both agree is not under capitalism and has not happened.
No.
If all of those problems have been solved, then there is no need for conflict of that regard.
But they're saying, no, we want to do, because they're like, yo, this is a free country, right? Well, we want to do capitalism. Yeah. We think the market should regulate the prices and shit. Like, we don't think the workplace should be socialized.
Okay, that's a great question.
And what about
you have to ask why though at that point?
Because, oh my God,
well,
he
people
won't
never can
answer.
be explained by why anyway.
Hassan won't answer the question.
People are gonna be dumb. You're right.
It's like you don't. It's just gonna exist.
Hasan won't answer because the question is, you would kill them. Just say it. That's what you would do. You would kill people who are opposing you in your illiberal regime. If liberals come up and you're illiberal, you would kill them. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And so if the will of the people is to go back to do more of a social democracy, is that something that a socialist country should move towards, or should there be resistance to the government to keep socialism?
I think the resistance should be akin to how capitalist governments have resisted historically any kind of socialist movement, not to that same degree of violence, but I think that yes, the solution to that would always be education and
re-education camps.
Offering more
re-education.
Re-education, certainly, yeah.
Somebody give me the clip of that one loser who's like, we would house our comrades in re-education camps. Somebody please give me the fucking clip. Please give me the clip.
I know that that's like a
Let's
trigger
put them in
word.
Camps.
No, not like that. I know there's a
not the camps. Oh no.
trigger word, because everyone goes, oh, re-education. What do you mean? Like immediately people think like, are you talking about like resident schools? Are you talking about the Xinjiang? Yeah, 100%. They do. They do it. They did it in Xinjiang, which I think
good, right?
No, I don't agree with that. Yeah, I don't think it was good. This is something I have openly criticized as well. Like that's not good. The massive surveillance apparatus they built in Xinjiang is not good.
So what would be good about a socialist re-education camp for capitalists?
It wouldn't necessarily. I don't think it'd be camps. I mean, it depends.
Well, it wouldn't be camp. Oh my God, I don't hate him. I don't hate Hasan. What I hate are all of the mind-numbingly retarded fucking fans that can watch him squirm like this and not think that it's the most. You literally have the fucking. You've got like the drunken Dayquil master over here, okay, Ethan, asking the most innocuous questions, and Hasan is acting like he's getting pressed in front of like a fucking Senate Judiciary Committee, and he's like under oath, and he's like committed like 50 million crimes he's trying to hide from the United States. Like it's actually appalling.
Oftentimes, the number one counter against a socialist governance or democracy in the workplace or anything like that is always like, what do you want, the fucking janitor just came in yesterday to make these decisions? Like, no one said he's the CEO now.
I just want to understand how it works, because you keep saying rev share.
That's your
rev share is only one component of
the janitor.
Rev share can be democratically assigned.
Say what?
Okay, here's an example. When I first started the podcast, I was originally under cast. It was fucking terrible. We quit. We started our own podcast, me and Will. We need a producer because we don't have that skill set. We need someone to change the cameras and maybe do a little bit of, someone to post the videos, do the captions, titling, thumbnailing, right? So in that situation, we looked for someone, we found someone, and we were splitting it 3 ways. We were splitting the revenue 3 ways, anything that we made, right? And even before that, I was also giving March money as well to make sure that he like at least had a fucking, you know, had a revenue opportunity even when we weren't generating a lot of revenue, right? So what did I do after that? The podcast grew. Fear and now has 5 cast members. We brought in Austin Show, my good friend, and Cutie Cinderella. And when that happened, us 3, we got together and we had a conversation. Do we need more hosts? Do we think that this will be beneficial? Right? Do we think that we will end up making, you know, more revenue, generating more revenue in the long run? Will we have people with unique creative ideas? Like I care more about the creative output than anything else than revenue. I haven't even touched the revenue that I've generated from the podcast. And we got together and we had a conversation. And I think that that is a significantly more equitable and just and better way of doing business than me hiring March, me giving Will some money originally, like a fat salary, or maybe cutting in on the rev share for him, and then giving...
This works with this type of company because you've got 3 people that are all doing the exact same job, that are all public facing and doing the same type of thing. Now talk about a supermarket. Talk about a manager in a supermarket having to make decisions about what he wants to order with somebody that just works at a cash register, or somebody that just works at delivering product in the back, or somebody that just works at maintaining the HVAC. Like, that's the issue that you run into. Yes, with 3 employees with the same type of job, they're all doing the same thing with the same public-facing thing, that all have about the same ownership. Obviously, this conversation is easy. This is the easiest form of understanding how to solve this type of problem. But do it where you've got employees that are all filled into highly specialized, highly differentiated roles that all have very different stakes in the company, right?
March like a super...
Also, all the people involved in this fucking podcast are already fucking rich. None of these people are negotiating for their food every night, right? It's also a way different thing too.
High fucking wage, right? Way higher than like the average producer, and then making these decisions single-handedly.
Let me add another aspect to your example. Let's say you need to hire a cleaner to come to the office.
Yes, cleaner. There you go.
She works for the podcast.
Correct.
She comes, she cleans the office. She works full time. How do you pay her?
Yeah.
The cleaner side of this is not like, I mean, I don't have an office like that, but the janitorial services,
theoretically,
in a theoretical situation where we have someone that needs to do it, we would also get together as a unit. Okay, the existing company would get together and decide what level, just like hiring the 2 other hosts, we decide what level of revenue cuts we are going to take from our 5% to give
so you're making
to
her
the
a
other
job offer.
person.
It's not really that different than a salary.
And once they get that job, and there are many different ways of doing this, but once they get that job, and let's say they worked for 2 years, 3 years, then they have a say in the revenue sharing structure and the power sharing structure as well. Because it doesn't have to happen like instantaneously. A lot of people forget that.
Like, my problem is that in the socialist economy, if this is being regulated by the government, people can get together now and decide to do whatever the fuck they want in their
Yes! That's why liberalism, that's why capitalism, that's why this form of economic and socio-political organization exists almost all over the world, is because it's so flexible. It's so flexible. That's one of the great things about liberalism. Liberalism can have fucking Sharia law Muslims living together with communists that want to grow food on a plantation, living together with hyper-capitalists that want to try to monopolize, with vertical and horizontal mergers that can exist with that's one of the nice things about our current system, is so many different types of people can exist. If you want to do this, if you want to make a company like this, go make it. Nobody's stopping you. But in your world, if you have a communist or a socialist organization of government, if I want to be a capitalist, you're going to fucking murder me. You put me against the wall and fucking kill me. Like, that's the difference.
Company. That's great, you know? But in the socialistic economy, there's rules that says you need to pay her X amount of rev share.
What you're saying is not true.
Okay.
You want to know why?
Yes.
Why?
Because you want a social democracy, which kind of exists, and market regulation exists under capitalist formations, and plenty of capital owners hate that. As a matter of fact, I would say universally capital owners hate any kind of market regulation, which is why they choose to erode it as best as they possibly can.
That doesn't even make sense. That's not even true. Hasan, that is in contradiction with both reality and your earlier stated position. Regulatory capture and the idea of enforcement of things of the government is actually one of the things that large companies can enjoy at a great level. There's a reason why Amazon willingly set their wages to $15 an hour without the government having to push it. You can argue that there are rents, that there are forms of regulatory capture where big companies actually love these types of regulations, because these types of regulations can force out smaller competitors. But you know this, Hasan, because I'm pretty sure you were just arguing earlier that a lot of this regulatory capture is something capitalist organizations push for, that firms and businesses try to enact in the government. So he's like in direct contradiction with shit that even he stated earlier in this conversation.
I would say universally capital owners hate any kind of market regulation, which is why they choose to erode it as best as they possibly can, or they use it to their advantage to create an artificial barrier of entry into certain sectors.
He just, okay, that's good. He got the second part. All right. Vosh rant, early rant. Cut the stream there, August. Don't let him show them more.
I'm saying in a socialist economy.
Also, there's also an argument to be made that there has been international research done. Firms do prefer to operate out of countries where the cost of labor is higher and there's stricter enforcement of like labor laws and stuff, as opposed to other countries where you might have cheaper labor, but the country is less stable due to strife, revolutions, expropriation of shit, government going crazy, blah, 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 blah. So firms do appreciate some form of, I'll say regulation. It's not really that they prefer the regulation. What they really prefer is the stability that regulation tends to bring. That is true.